Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Blue Bounty Hunter channel. So if you can imagine yourself as a wanted alien, I think the last thing you would ever want is to see the figure of Boba Fett landing down in front of you. But what makes him such an unstoppable killing machine? Is it the Z6 jetpack that goes up to 229 feet? Or perhaps the lesser known rocket dart launchers worn on his knee pads? Well, today I'll rank 10 of these gadgets in a tier list to see which is the real reason why Boba is close to the best when it comes to killing. That's right, I said close to the best.
I'm still faster than you.
So our first item for F tier is spiked boots. For this, we can see Fett's boots hold 2 spikes on each boot towards the front that are obviously sharp enough to cause damage. Now, while I seriously doubt that they are used for anything other than decoration, one can only wonder about how these spikes could kill foes of Boba, and maybe if he was to just kick them or even just press his boots into them, this would add an even greater advantage in battle. Next up is the sonic beam weapon, and not much is actually known about this one, but basically the sonic beam weapon contained a high frequency screamer chip, emitter, and power cell. Appearance wise, this is a thin card-like object with greebling all over it and also sharp points on the bottom section. So that completes our F tier with a couple items that don't have too much information about them, but yeah, I think one of them can kind of be spoken for. I mean, boots, it's really not going to help you all that much, and maybe in very specific situations where Boba Fett's kicking you or something, but all around this is definitely an F tier weapon that's barely ever going to help you. And also the sonic beam weapon, I mean, we really don't know anything about it, and honestly it just sounds like a slicing card. Moving into D tier, we have the whipcord launcher. This tool shot out a lariat with the objective of trapping opponents to keep them from moving. Attached to the vambraces of Boba Fett was a fiber cord whip, and it was trusted since it almost always actually caught the live victims, which is obviously going to be a plus for bounty hunters. Trust me, I would know. The actual science behind how the cord propels out is unknown, but for now, something sci-fi will have to do. Jango Fett used this against Kenobi on Kamino to drag him around the wet surface, and moving past all the other instances of Cad Bane and Mandalorians using it, we also have the time Boba immobilized Luke with this whipcord. So to explain D tier, I mean, this is just one of those weapons that, yes, it is pretty good for bounty hunters, but really, even if it is a Jedi like Luke, they're gonna be able to cut through it very easily, but it's just not the best all around for killing prey. Oh, and before we move on, since Boba's original name on Kamino was Alpha, you know what that means, right? Boba is the true alpha male of Star Wars. Moving into C tier, we have vibroblades, and this refers to the mini vibroblades that Boba, like many other bounty hunters and mercenaries before him, would use throughout his suit, such as the wristband blades that were formerly stored in Jango Fett's suit. In Attack of the Clones, we can see his dad use these to stop himself from falling off the Kaminoan platform by cutting into the surface, but it almost looks like an assortment of blades similar to a complex pocket knife that stretch out across the arm at different angles. It's safe to assume that Fett would also use common vibroblades like the knives of Din Djarin for other combat. We only ever see the wristband blades used to stop Jango from falling, but it would also make sense to use them to cut or even behead enemies. For wrist lasers, this refers to on Boba's left wrist gauntlet sits a DUR-24 wrist laser, which is manufactured by Blast Tech Industries and has a range of 164 feet or 150 meters. And also the full firepower of a standard blaster rifle, which is great for Boba because he would use it when his EE3 blaster was damaged and he has no other choice, with the wrist laser serving as a very good replacement. An example of this was when Luke destroyed Fett's blaster above the Sarlacc pit on Tatooine, where Boba would then recover before attempting to shoot Luke with the DUR-24 before being stopped by Han on accident. And he also used it against a platoon of stormtroopers on Tython to help Mando out. This weapon was also portable and sat right on top of his flamethrower. So to go over why these are my picks for C tier, with the vibro blades, I mean, they are good for stopping you if you're gonna fall off a building, and they are pretty nice here and there for like hand-to-hand combat. And then for the wrist lasers, I mean, it really is just the kind of thing where he's really only going to use it if he's not using his blaster, but it's also not going to be all that maneuverable or have the best aim. So moving into B tier, knee pad rocket dart launchers, which Boba Fett also used on Tython against the platoon of Moff Gideon's troopers after all his other terrorizings of the stormtroopers. Boba finishes this fight with these darts that pierce through the men like a bowling ball through a nest of pins. This tech was surprisingly introduced in 1980 when it was added to the costume for The Empire Strikes Back in Fett's first appearance, played by Jeremy Bulloch. And when I say first appearance, I'm not thinking about the holiday special. But Jeremy Bulloch remembered them being attached by Velcro fasteners, and apparently during filming they would constantly fall off his leg or shoot across the room when he walked, and it was a small metal object with 2 darts at the side. Next up is concussion rockets, and this refers to the MM9 mini concussion rocket launcher made by Kelverick Consolidated Arms and was a mounted projectile launcher on Boba Fett's arm gauntlets. In Battlefront 2, 2017, one of the main abilities of Boba is this wrist rocket, which causes discombobulation upon the enemy as their vision and hearing are impaired, making it very effective in battle, annoying for the enemy, but fun for you. Originally, this rocket would lock onto targets at any distance in the game, but this was later changed to a 35-meter radius. So yeah, for B tier, I put them here because I just think they're extremely good for what they are. Now, obviously, they're probably not going to have the best range, and that really is the one drawback. And for the concussion missiles, you know, it's not really going to do any damage to anyone, but it is a great tool that can help you impair the victim. Next up, moving into A tier, we have the EE3 blaster that I mentioned earlier, and it was also a deadly weapon used by Boba. It cost 1,500 credits, was short and lightweight, not to mention its trusted manufacturer of blast tech. It had a short and heavily shrouded barrel, and also a pistol grip, a solid stock, and optical sight. This blaster carbine would fire single shots or bursts and also had heavy fire capabilities, but on top of all of these pros, it also had the con of limited range. Some more details are that in Legends, it was modeled after E11 blasters of stormtroopers. The Clone Wars era bounty hunter Sugi used one, and also the original prop was a modified version of the World War I British flare gun. Blast Tech originally designed it for law enforcement and private security forces, but it would soon become popular amongst bounty hunters and paramilitary groups. The EE4 carbine rifle was an updated version of this blaster that changed the range and grip significantly. And I love using Boba Fett in Battlefront. I mean, I've been exclusively using him as my main villain since last year, but it is always so annoying to me how you can't zoom in with this blaster. Also, I wish he had more health, but that's enough for the random complaining segment of today's video. So yeah, this is it for A tier, and it is his signature weapon. The only reason I don't have it in like S tier is because while it is a great blaster, I do not think it is the best blaster. Finishing with S tier, we have the flamethrower. It was also known as the ZX miniature flame projector, or just simply flamethrower gauntlet, and burned a cone of fire 5 meters long and 1 meter in diameter, or 16 by 3 feet, which could be used as a great defense for scaring off enemies or burning them alive. A corded fuel line was connected to a backpack, which could operate for 3 minutes straight due to the amount of fuel it held. This device was used by Jango Fett against Mace Windu at the Petronki Arena on Geonosis, and later Boba would adopt this from his father and use it to free himself from the Sarlacc. Boba's version was mounted on his wrist gauntlets and connected to his jetpack through a reinforced cord. Also in S tier, we have the Z6 jetpack, made by Mitanalman Transports and costing 5,250 credits. This beast of machinery was arguably a huge credit to Boba Fett's success in the first place. It could fly 229 feet vertically and was favored by Mandalorian commandos in past history. It was fast, nimble, and could maintain sustained flights, but also give short bursts of fuel for fast takeoff. The one drawback was its low durability, which could lead to the device having performance issues or even combustion, and this could be caused by any sort of external impact damage. This could also be equipped with a top-loaded rocket-firing missile, which Boba would use against some assassins in Mos Espa in the Book of Boba Fett, Episode 1. So to describe the S tier, some of you might be confused why I have the flamethrower here and his blaster in A tier, but I mean, at the end of the day, the blaster isn't the best blaster, and when it comes to flamethrowers, this probably is in fact the best. Also in S tier, we have the jetpack. Now, some would maybe take some points off due to the durability and stuff, but I definitely think it makes up for it with the missile rocket. But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to. I upload every Friday and sometimes on Sunday too at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, I post shorts on Saturday, but yeah, see ya.